stop sign here halfway down this hill. Slow down and just barely creep down to the stop sign. Make sure I am able to stop and I don't slide out in front of somebody else, cause a collision. I don't know if you can see, but I have a fairly steep hill. I'm going to try to get some speed built up. My speed is 25 miles per hour. 28. I'm holding the accelerator steady. I don't want to over accelerate and break traction, because when you're going up a hill and you break traction, you lose rolling speed very quickly. So when you lose your rolling speed, then you will have a more difficult time making it up the hill. My speed is 25 miles per hour. Making sure that I maintain a safe speed. The faster you go, the easier it is to break traction. And if you break traction doing 50, 55 miles an hour, a lot of times you'll lose control and start doing a 360 in the middle of the road until you slide off into a ditch or off the road. Whenever you see so many cars in the medium strip on the interstates or in the ditches, probably 9 times out of 10 is because they were driving too fast, and when they broke traction, it spun out of control very, very quickly before they could control it. This vehicle is equipped with ATS, it's anti-lock brakes, or ABS I mean. So when I hit my brakes, I'm going to hit my brakes right here. See, I'm sliding, but I'm sliding straight. You can hear the noise. That's the anti-lock brakes. So whenever you have to stop fast and you slam on your brakes, don't let that scare you. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're locking the wheels, releasing, locking the wheels, releasing, locking the wheels, releasing very, very quickly. And that enables you to maintain steering control. If you don't have steering control, or if your wheels are locked up, you can't steer the vehicle. So you got to regain rolling traction. And we got somebody on the road. Looks like he's needing to jump. That's why it's a good idea to always have a set of jumper cables in your vehicle in case you get stranded and you need a boost. A lot of times you can find people that's willing to give you a boost, but they don't have jumper cables. So if you have your own jumper cables, then that problem is alleviated. Maintaining my speed up this hill. I don't know what's on the other side of the hill. When I get to the top, I'm going to practically stop until I can see over the hill, making sure there's nobody crossways the road or having the road blocked. Because if I didn't slow down and there was an accident right there, somebody in the middle of the road, sideways of the road, I wouldn't be able to stop. Okay, it looks like the road is clear, so I can continue on. And there's a car in the ditch right here. There's 2 cars. One of them was probably tailgating the other one. One of them started losing control. The other one couldn't stop either. Those 2 cars back there off the side of the road, there's no reason those 2 cars should have been off the road. If they've been maintaining a safe speed for the conditions, then they wouldn't have had no problem. Because that was not going up a hill, that was coming down a hill. So they were coming down the hill too fast. One of them hit his brakes, lost control, and the guy behind him, because he was following too close, he lost control of his as well. Intersection left, right, and left is clear. Get a little bit of speed built up. There's another car just slid off the road. His back tire's off the ground. What he did right there is he tried to make that turn too fast. If you're going into a curve or into a turn too fast, when you turn your front wheels, they don't have enough traction to grip the road. So your front wheels start sliding, and there you go. continue sliding forward straight into what you were trying to avoid. In that case, he just slid off the road because he couldn't make that turn. So slow down to a safe speed to make your turns. Okay, the intersection on the left is clear. You want to make sure that you're clearing your intersections well before you get to them, because a lot of times people are coming up to a stop sign or a traffic light. They can't stop, so they just slide right on through the intersection. So you got to make sure that you're able to stop if you need to stop. If you see somebody traveling at a rate of speed you know they're not going to be able to stop, then you'll be prepared to stop. That was the case of another car trying to turn while it was traveling too fast. In that situation, car's going downhill, making a left turn, which means you have to slow down even further, because you got gravity wanting to pull you down the hill, and you try to turn, your front wheels don't get enough traction, so you just slide right off the road. When you're making turns like that, slow down to a crawl to make sure that you're able to turn. Okay, we have Brendan in the car with us now. He's 16. He said he'd been driving close to a year. He's never driven in the ice and snow before, so we wanted to come and give him some experience in driving in the ice and snow. And Brendan, one of the greatest enemies of driving in the ice and snow is speed. Now see how steep this hill is?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put the car in neutral and keep my speed down very, very low so that I can control it. If I start down this hill too fast and you have to hit your brakes, you got to stop, so somebody's coming out of the driveway, or you coming into a curve and you can't make that curve going that fast, so you put on your brakes. What happens is you'll start sliding. So when you start sliding, you have to let off your brakes or you can't steer. It's going to continue sliding straight. So to be able to steer, your wheels have to be rolling. So you let off your brakes and your speed picks up more. You hit your brakes, you start sliding. Let off your brakes, your speed picks up more. So that's why, take your time like I'm doing right here and go down this hill, and you'll maintain control all the way down. Sure, it's going to take you a couple of minutes to get down the hill, but guess what? I'm not going to be over there in the ditch and then having to call a wrecker or somebody to come and pull me out. See how fast my car wants to pick up speed if I let off the brakes? So I'm just going to barely hold my brakes all the way down. Keep those wheels rolling, but maintain. See, there's a stop sign right there. There's no way if I come down this hill doing even 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, I'd be able to stop right there. I would just slide right on through, slide on across the road, down into that dumpster. Also, if this hill was solid ice, and say if I had some snow on the side of the road, but ice on if the lanes were solid ice, then you can get better traction by having your right front wheels in the snow. That gives you a little bit more rolling resistance. These next video clips are of vehicles crashing because they aren't following safe methods for these conditions. Before we get into the crashes though, I want to point out these tire chains. For some of you from the south who may not have ever seen them on vehicles before, but they provide you much more needed traction on ice and snow. This is a front wheel drive vehicle, so they're placed on the front tires. If it were a rear wheel drive vehicle, they would be placed on the rear tires. So if you have to do a lot of driving in ice and snow and you don't have a four-wheel drive, these are a great investment. This first vehicle comes down the hill traveling at a high rate of speed. It's not able to make the turn because of traveling too fast. Turns the steering wheel all the way to the right trying to make the turn, and the front wheels aren't able to maintain traction, so they start sliding straight forward. Luckily, this guy right here gets out of the way just in time, and this is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I talked about clearing the intersections, because you never know when somebody's going to come sliding through the intersection and T-bone you, or you T-bone them. So as you'll see, this was a close call, Again, all 4 tires were rolling, but he was sliding because he was going too fast for those conditions. Now that blue car just went by, and this truck, they were traveling slow enough that they maintained rolling traction all the way through the turn. If you notice the white pickup truck coming down the hill, extremely too fast, he went over to the snowbank trying to slow his truck down. He's got all 4 wheels locked. He continues sliding forward until he lets off the brakes here, regains rolling traction. Then he was able to steer out. Then he locks his wheels again, turns his wheels all the way to the left, and not until he releases his brakes right here to regain rolling traction was he able to steer. This SUV, he come off here extremely too fast. He can't slow down. He's lost control. All 4 wheels are locked up. Instead of slowing, he's actually picking up speed the further he goes down the hill. And all 4 wheels are locked. And he can't stop until he slams into these vehicles right there. This next SUV, he's traveling at a slow enough speed that when he hits his brakes, he starts sliding. He lets off of his brakes, regains rolling traction, and then he was able to make that turn. There he goes, lets off the brakes right there, and is able to make the turn. This next SUV coming off the hill too fast. He knows if he hits his brakes, he's going to start sliding, so he thinks he's going to make this turn going that fast. He turns his wheels to the left, starts sliding forward, panics, turns his wheels back to the right, and then slams into those vehicles. Now this vehicle here was trying to make it up the hill. He slid sideways, and if he had let off his brakes and gently accelerated, he could have pulled out of this, but because he kept his brakes locked, he just slid, continually down the hill. Luckily, he didn't crash into anything. This next 4-wheel drive Jeep, it's got big knobby tires on there. A lot of times people think because they're in a 4-wheel drive vehicle that they can drive fast and with no problems, or they do get good traction. You can go very well in these vehicles, but nothing is going to stop very well on ice and snow. So this guy puts his brakes on, he locks up his brakes, turns his wheels both directions, and he just continues sliding straight forward. This next pickup truck, he's going slow enough. However, he can't stop. He locks up his brakes, continues sliding, turns his wheels to the right, continues sliding forward, lets off his brakes, turns his wheel to the left, and he's able to steer out of the crash. There was a set of tires on the rear, chains on the rear of that vehicle. Then we've got another 4-wheel drive. He almost gets into a crash here, got all 4 wheels locked up, continues sliding down the hill. Look at there. He couldn't stop until he hit those bare spots in the asphalt there. This next 4-wheel drive, look how close these vehicles are traveling. This is extremely too fast. This vehicle should be at least this far behind this vehicle. Because if this truck crashes into something, guess what this guy's going to do? He's going to be crashed right in there with them. You cannot follow somebody this close, especially going down a hill. So make sure that you maintain a good safe following distance. This guy locks up all of his brakes, turns the steering wheel all the way to the left, continues sliding forward. He can't stop until he hit the bare spot in the pavement right there. Now this guy here, he should have stopped back here, waited to this intersection, got clear. So he wasn't paying enough attention. He should have known that he wasn't going to be able to make that turn. And luckily he was able to get out of the way before these other vehicles come crashing into him. He said, whoops, I can't do this. I got to back up real quick. Now what if there had been somebody behind him? He would have backed right into him. This Jeep's got his brakes locked, see there? Now he lets off his brakes, he can steer. And this guy's going slow enough, luckily, that he didn't get into a crash right there. There's another pickup truck, locks up his brakes, can't steer. Until he lets off his brakes, then he was able to steer out of it. There comes a Lexus coming down the hill, sliding sideways. He can't stop. And luckily he gets stopped right there. Comes another four-wheel drive pickup truck. Can't stop until he hits the bare asphalt right there. So I hope that this gives you a good understanding of what it's like driving on ice and snow and why you have to maintain rolling traction. If you don't maintain rolling traction, you're not going to be able to steer your vehicle. When you're going into curves, into turns, you have to make sure that you're going slow enough that your front wheels maintain traction to allow your vehicle to steer through the turn.